Alright, coverage of board games continues. Now, this one, as you can see, is Dragonlance Warriors of Krynn. Now, unfortunately, this one kind of fell flat on its face along with the adventure that this goes along with is the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So these two are actually connected, so you can play them. You can connect the two and everything. So the reason I say this, both of these kind of flopped, is because it was released around the time of the OGL scandal and everything. So unfortunately, this one kind of flopped and everything. So I was introduced to its companion adventure book and everything here through one of the creators I follow on TikTok and everything. He did a playthrough, so that's what kind of got me into this and everything. So this is the companion board game to the Shadow of the Dragon Queen that I just showed. So now, like I said, you can play one or the other or both and everything. So this is the actual board game. So as we can get into it, you actually have your playing tiles, where your playing field, and so that we'll set that aside for now. Now this is the scenery book, so we'll get into that real quick and everything. So and here's the actual rule book. So what's the rule book goes through, as you can see, it goes through the whole idea of how you play, and so it gives you a quick overview and okay, this is what you do the first time you play, because this one is a lot more in depth than the Hero Quest. So I would suggest probably playing something like Hero Quest first, so we can kind of get an idea of a game mechanics for how board games works. Now you could jump right into this one because the way it's set up. So now it gives you the rule book, how you can see we take these, and we got the tiles here and that you can punch out and everything. So I'm just going to go over them, and you got the different punch outs for creatures and stuff, and the actual stuff that you can put on the board. So you use these in tandem with these, as you can see, for and plus these punch outs as well. And plus you got also more character tokens. So as you can see with the setup, you got the different tiles that you can use to set up for each scenario. So this actually gives you the whole how you set it up, and then those battlefield components that I showed. It shows you, talks about those, the adventure tiles, the battle tiles. Now it actually gets into down here the actual different types of tokens. So the tokens are these ones. They have different shapes for both the dragon army and plus your army. So what you do is you use these tokens to put them on these good old gaming tiles to kind of represent your units and everything. So you got the smaller ones and the bigger ones, that, as you can see, referencing back here to the actual setup that you will set up and everything. So you also got hero cards, which are the hero cards. So you'll take one of these heroes and you'll play as those heroes. So this game is set up for a 3 to 5 type of game. So you'll take the different characters and then kind of set up, and so the tokens, you'll sit there and show your in a sense your troops. So it's kind of a war game. So the markers that I just showed, and you got the key mount trackers and everything that you'll find on one of these punch outs and everything that you have. And plus with it's got the different markers. So you got the objective tokens, what you need to achieve. You got okay, you got stop, so pretty much indicates the end of an action or something. You got all these different punch outs that you can put on the actual board game. And so you actually got the cards too. So it's actually broken up into 3 different categories and everything. So you got all your different cards. So for instance, here you can see the recruit. So you start here. So there's scenarios that you go through, you can see in the actual rule book. You start with scenario 0 and recruit. So it's a training ground. And of course you got your more recruit cards. And so what you do then is I have veteran cards. So after you go through the first 4 scenarios, so plus scenario 0 for the training, you go to the veteran campaigns, and then after several of those you go into the legendary. So it has 3 different tiers of play for this game. and you can see like the cards and stuff, and that's how where these come into play. And you use those cards to kind of in a sense, go back and forth, taking turns and stuff. And so you got the battle dice and everything. So this is this game's versions of battle dice, like in your role playing games like D&D or Pathfinder or anything. You have several different types of dice, ranging from D4 to D20. So you just have these 6-sided dice that have different symbols on them that represent attack, defend, movement, stuff like that. And it's like the same kind of concept with Hero Quest. They have those 6-sided dice that you attack, defend, and move and stuff. So again, get into further detail on the cards and stuff, on how to build those heroes that we have. So like you can see there, it says building your hero. So reference the hero cards that you take and everything. And then it gets into all their ability cards and the powers and what you can do. And then with them, it gets into the key terms for the actual battles. You can actions, active flank, the battle line, discard pile, all the stuff that you do during your actions and stuff. So, and then it gets into how you do on your turn. So it starts with the event phase, the action phase, respite phase, battle phase. So then it actually goes into and explaining all the different phases that you can do, and so that it goes through those, and then it actually gets into the different types, battle starts, activate commander powers, and you can see what you can do for each turn, and then you get all the way through an end in the scenario. So after you get your objective, you go through go back and forth, and you defeat the army. You can get into the end scenario. So then like I was mentioned, the different tiers of play. So the first one is the recruit. So you can see here with the veteran tier, after you do the training ground scenario 0, and then scenarios 1 through 4, you get to the veteran tier, and then you can get through 5 through 8, and then you get to the legendary scenarios 9 through 12. So in here it mentions the D&D companion adventure. So this is where the actual Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen comes in, so you can actually connect the two. So now you don't necessarily have to. You can play this alone, and you can play that separate as well. So you don't necessarily have to connect them, but it does give you the option to be able to do that. So now it gives you this scenario entries to how to do all the different tiles and stuff, and it goes into the actual different types of scenarios that you can come across in each. In a sense, these are the sub scenarios and everything through the whole different 12 scenario, overarching 12 scenarios that you go through. And so that's the rule book that explains everything you need to know about on how to play. And you can see here, you can see the hero tokens that you have. So those are the heroes that you can actually play as. And now getting back to the scenario book, so this is where you can play the different scenarios. So it gets into the whole Dragon Queen returns. So Shadow of the Dragon Queen, as you can tell, it's during the War of the Lance, and so this gives you a quick introduction of this, of how to use the book, the training grounds, the campaign play. It lets you the D&D characters that you can like I said, you can use the Shadow of the Dragon Queen adventure book, but you don't. I'll reiterate, you don't have to. So then it gets into the actual scenario. So the scenario 0 I was talking about, the training ground. This actually gets into all the details that you can get, and it shows you the setup and how to take all these tiles and everything. So I'm not punching anything out, and I'm not taking the stuff out of the bags, because I kind of want to maybe eventually get a group into this as well. So I'll have to see if I can get the future endeavor of something like this up and going. So then you can get into the actual scenarios and everything. So you're in a sense running a military campaign through 12 different scenarios. So you get all the way to a scenario 12 in the legendary tier. So the good idea is probably do one scenario every week and everything. So starting with the training ground, so that way you can understand how to play and everything. So then you got the campaign conclusion, and so you got the different style honor cards and stuff you level, in a sense, level up to get honor points. It's like this version of experience type of deal. So then like you can, in the back it actually shows like a description of like the 6 characters that you can play as. So this is the scenario booklet. So this is actually like the board game. So I actually bought this as a part of the a bundle. So like I went to the local gaming store. So what how it worked out was like I bought the Warriors of Krynn Dragonlance box set along with the adventure book for like $100 and everything. So like $100 might seem quite expensive, but like for instance, like a box set like this and everything, if you compare it to something like Hero Quest, could easily go for $100 alone, and your adventure books like these can go anywhere from like 30 to $50 and everything themselves. So $100 for the 2 of them, you can see like is a quite a decent steal. So this, like I said, is the board game for Warriors of Krynn. It's like a different type of board game, like totally different than Hero Quest. Now, someone like me would say like learn how to do it. Like I said earlier, learn how to do like Hero Quest and everything first, because that's an easier game to get into. So that way you know how to play board games and everything. But the caveat is like with the scenery book and the whole rule book here, it sets it up relatively like I say relatively easy for you to get into it. So a good way to get into it, though, something like this being more like more in depth than like a game like Hero Quest or maybe even Talisman, is like you get together with a couple friends and you pretty much have this like open, and like you pretty much go. You learn together and everything, so you can kind of like wing it type of deal, and so sometimes the winging it is the best way to learn it and everything. So you don't necessarily have to do something easy like a Hero Quest and everything. So again, this is kind of to get into like venture off into like a board game. So this one is Warriors of Krynn. It's tied into the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen adventure book. And I'll to end this, I'll reiterate that you don't necessarily have to run both together. I got it as a bundle, so like they are connected. So my viewpoint is that like it would be great to run both together. So you could have like a D&D group running through the adventure book while you're doing the actual board game too. So you could do maybe this on a Saturday, do the adventure book on Sunday, and have like a whole weekend worth of fun and everything. So now that's because I got this as a bundle and they're tied together. But again, you can like just do this alone and as a board game. It would definitely give you countless hours of entertainment, just like Hero Quest.